June 18th, 2026. Picture this, a sweltering summer day at the historic Logahad Fort. What was supposed to be this perfectly romantic pre-birthday picnic for a newly engaged couple ended in a chilling, highly suspicious tragedy that completely shook the city of Pune to its core. So let's dive right into the evidence and try to unravel exactly what happened out there.
Now imagine the absolute sheer panic of this moment. At exactly 10:30 in the morning, the Lonavala Rural Police, along with a very prominent local family, get this frantic, trembling phone call from 20-year-old Sia Goyal. She is weeping uncontrollably on the line, screaming that her fiancé, 26-year-old Ketan Agarwal, had just lost his balance in the fierce winds, and before anyone could even try to grab him, he plummeted down a horrific 400-foot sheer drop. It actually took rescue teams 3 grueling hours just to hack through the dense bushes and recover him.
And honestly, that perfectly sets up the core dilemma of our explainer today. You have to ask yourself, was this simply a tragic trekking accident, or was it cold-blooded murder? Now, initially, authorities treated it as an accident. The police filed a standard accidental death report, ADR number 36/26, under Section 194 of the BNSS. To the rest of the world, it just looked like this terrible tragedy where a bright young man was taken way too soon. But as you're about to see, the surface almost never tells the whole story. To really get a grip on the stakes here, we've got to look at who was actually involved. Ketan Agarwal was the 26-year-old heir to the massive Success Group empire. He'd just come back to India in 2023 after getting his master's in entrepreneurship from Bobson College over in Massachusetts, and he was stepping right up as the chief marketing officer alongside his dad. Sia Goyal, on the other hand, was a 20-year-old local commerce student from a very well-known family in the Market Yard area. They were brought together by a high society arranged marriage, essentially a strategic union between 2 elite business families. And when I say elite, just look at the staggering financial and societal stakes of this alliance. 17 crore rupees. That was the massive budget for their upcoming destination wedding, set for November 25th, 2026. The families had literally booked out a breathtaking heritage palace in Udaipur, and they'd even put down advance payments for 2 private charter planes just to fly their VIP guests out from Pune. Right after Ketan's tragic death, Sia did what a lot of people do. She took to social media to mourn. She posted this highly melodramatic tribute on her public Instagram account. It was set to a tragic background song featuring a video of the 2 of them dancing, and the caption read, "My heart knows you are here. I had so many dreams. Why did you leave me when we were so close to getting married?" Unsurprisingly, it pulled in massive public sympathy, painting her as this totally heartbroken bride-to-be. But, ironically, it was this very public, flashy display that planted the first real seeds of doubt for Ketan's grieving father, Vishal Agarwal. Because here is where things start getting really interesting. Away from the cameras and the Instagram feeds, during Ketan's cremation, his dad was watching Sia very closely, and he noticed something deeply disturbing. Sia was doing all the loud, dramatic wailing of grief, but there wasn't a single actual tear in her eyes. It was a completely tearless funeral. Fast forward 4 days to June 22nd, and Ketan's sister, Sanjana, finally sits Sia down and rigorously cross-examines her about the exact details of the fall. Sia was totally caught off guard. She kept fumbling and her story kept shifting. One minute, Ketan was standing on the edge. The next minute, the wind violently pushed him. The facade was definitely cracking. Suddenly, all these weird little puzzle pieces started falling into place for the Agarwal family. Back in early June, the couple was supposed to fly out for a lavish pre-wedding shoot in Bali. On the way to the Mumbai airport, Sia made this random excuse to go back to their car alone. And magically, when they got to the airport, only Ketan's passport was missing from their shared family pouch, which forced them to cancel the whole expensive trip. Then, there was a very strange incident on June 14th, just days before the fatal fall on the 18th. By this point, Ketan's dad was absolutely convinced this was foul play. He rushes to the Pune Rural Police, and SP Sandeep Singh Jill's team instantly upgrades the case. They start meticulously scanning the entry gate CCTV footage from Lohagad Fort, and what they found was just absurd. On a sweltering day with temps soaring past 33 degrees Celsius, they spot this mysterious guy trailing the couple. And he's wearing a heavy winter hoodie pulled aggressively down to hide his face, along with a massive headset. Even worse, the footage actually caught Sia secretly signaling this guy to hide whenever Ketan turned around. So how exactly do you ID a guy whose face is totally hidden?
Enter date analysis. It's the systematic study of human motion. The cybercell and technical team examined his physical build, his height, and the highly unique way he walked. They cross-referenced this biometric data by scraping Sia's social media and friends list, and the match was definitive. It was 22-year-old Ketan Babalal Chaudhary, a local DBA student who ran a small retail shop in the exact same commercial area as Sia's father. Yep, he was Sia's secret lover.
Now, don't think Ketan was just randomly stalking them out of the blue. This was definitely not some spur-of-the-moment crime of passion. The guy had a master plan. It involved a highly calculated four-step technological evasion strategy. Step 1, device dissociation. Step 2, a data blackout. Step 3, the use of a human proxy. And Step 4, covert communication.
Let's break down those first two steps. Ketan purposefully leaves his primary mobile phone miles and miles away at his retail shop in the Kantua area. On top of that, he completely disables his internet connection from exactly 7 a.m. to 5:40 p.m. Why go through all that trouble? To make absolutely sure that no background apps, GPS, or accidental software updates could ping his location at the Ford. If the cops checked the cell tower data, his digital footprint would securely place him at work all day. Moving to steps 3 and 4, the execution gets even more sinister. He gives strict instructions to his shop staff to answer any incoming calls on his main phone. This created an ironclad audio alibi through a human proxy. Anyone calling him that day literally spoke to his employees. Meanwhile, he travels to the fort separately on a two-wheeler, using a secondary proxy phone borrowed from one of his own workers to maintain covert communication with Sia via encrypted WhatsApp messages.
But here's the thing, the Pune Rural Police's cyber experts knew exactly how to penetrate this digital fortress. They bypassed the day of the murder entirely and pulled his historical call detail records, going all the way back to January 1st, 2026, and they hit on this absolute bombshell of a number, 2004. The data extracted from those call detail records showed 2004 phone calls between Sia and Ketan in just 170 days. I mean, do the math. That amounts to 238 total hours of communication. To put that into perspective, they were speaking for well over an hour daily, averaging about 11 calls every single day. This sheer volume of data unequivocally shattered their digital alibi. It proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that they were deeply involved and in heavy, premeditated contact. Faced with the damning CCTV footage and those insurmountable call records, both Ketan and Sia finally cracked and confessed on June 22nd and 23rd. But this forces us to ask a very logical question, the exact same question the interrogators asked Sia. If you loved Ketan so much and you didn't want to marry Ketan, why didn't you just break off the engagement? Why didn't you just elope? Why on earth was this extreme, gruesome violence even necessary? Well, her answer reveals a genuinely chilling level of cold calculation. Sia explained she was completely terrified of the societal disgrace. Breaking off a massive, highly publicized 17 crore elite alliance to run away with a middle-class shopkeeper would have brought immense shame and basically ruined her family's elite standing in society. She coldly calculated that if Ketan died in a quote-unquote accident, her family's honor would remain absolutely pristine, she'd be showered with sympathy, and eventually she could just quietly convince her family to let her marry Ketan. And guys, the horrific details do not stop there. Remember that June 14th date on our earlier timeline? The police discovered that June 18th wasn't even their first attempt. Just 4 days prior, Sia stubbornly insisted Ketan take her to the very same gorge at Loagad Fort. While they were standing at the edge, she gave him a massive shove. Miraculously, Ketan managed to grab onto some bushes and narrowly survived. When a terrified Ketan asked why she pushed him, she spun a total lie on the spot, screaming that a highly poisonous snake had been at his feet and she had pushed him to save his life. And the most tragic part? The lovesick Ketan completely believed her, viewing her as his savior. As the full truth came out, that meticulously crafted facade completely shattered. Now, we're impartially reporting the claims made by Ketan's mother here, but she stated to the media that the Goyal family purposely hid Sia's severe alcohol addiction behind a flawless traditional daughter-in-law act. She claims Sia enthusiastically participated in all the religious ceremonies in their home just to build unquestionable trust, masking her true nature solely to secure this incredibly wealthy alliance for her family. Given the immense gravity of this premeditated act, authorities aren't messing around. They bypassed the older IPC laws entirely and applied the severe new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, or BNS laws. Sia and Ketan have been officially charged under Section 103 for murder and Section 61 for criminal conspiracy. During their court appearance, the judge swiftly rejected the defense attorney's pleas against police custody, pointing straight to the extreme cruelty and the overwhelming technical evidence of the conspiracy. They were remanded into custody until June 29, 2026.
Which brings us to the final, really unsettling question of this explainer, a question that totally mirrors the desperate demands of the Agarwal family right now. Is it possible that the Goyal family knew about the secret affair or the hidden addictions, making them complicit in this tragic conspiracy? Did they prioritize a lucrative elite marriage over a young man's life? The police are continuing their deep dive investigation into this exact angle. It's an absolutely haunting case that reminds us how easily a perfect facade can be maintained. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on the impending verdict. But until then, thanks for joining me for this analysis. And remember, always look a little closer at the surface.